Welcome to Falvey Irish and Worldwide Adventures. Now, as we expand our range of adventure trails all around the world, we have now added a new guided Camino de Compostela Santiago walk. Our three Camino guides, Joe O'Leary is a very good friend of mine, Eamon Cashel as well, and Jim O'Leary, very experienced at what to do, will provide you with further information on this webinar as we actually go through it. I'm going to hand this over now to Jim to discuss and to talk to you about their experience and about the experience you will have on the Camino.
Hello, my name is Jim O'Leary, and today I'm going to introduce you to our Camino de Santiago tours. This tour in particular is the one from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Estella, but we offer a number of tours on the Camino, guided and unguided. On this tour, your three guides will be myself, Jim O'Leary, my colleague Eamon Cashel, and my colleague Joe O'Leary. All very experienced guides, and all of us in various ways have done the Camino both together and separately over many years. The Cathedral at Santiago, the final destination for all of the Caminos, and there are hundreds of them from across Europe. Our particular Camino is the one from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. It's called the Camino Français, and what we are doing on this particular presentation is talking to you about the stages from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Estella. This particular Camino will be 7 days duration. We'll have 5 days walking, group size of somewhere between 10 and 20, and an average walking distance each day of about 22 kilometers. We're currently basing our stages on John Brierley's guide. It's one of the best guides to the Camino that's available, and when you sign on for this particular trip, you will be receiving a complimentary copy of that guide. You can see all of the Caminos from right across Europe, down to the very south and way up to the very north on this map. Our particular Camino runs across the top of northern Spain. You can see Santiago de Compostela there on the far western side, and we're beginning right over on the French-Spanish border in the little town of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. All along the Camino, the way is marked by the famous Camino shell. This is the town of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. This will be our first night on the Camino. But before that, we will have picked you up from Biarritz Airport, and anyone who isn't travelling to us through Biarritz will make their own way to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and we'll all meet there on our first night. This is a typical Camino street. Beautiful little buildings, lovely flower arrangements, and in fact, though it's in shade, just on the left up along that little street is the Pilgrim Passport Office, where you can get your passport, which you get stamped all along the way to indicate that you have travelled the Camino. On our first day's walk, we start in this lovely village of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. We'll be walking to Roncesvalles, and that walk is about 25 kilometres. Strangely, it's probably the most challenging day we'll be walking, because we are travelling from Saint-Jean, which is on the French side of the Pyrenees, right over the top of the Pyrenees and down into Spain. So it will be our longest day's walking. We'll have a good rest at this lovely little hillside village of Roncesvalles. We'll be looking down over the dawn as it comes up over the valleys that we have travelled that morning. We'll be walking up over the Col de l'Eperdère, which is the highest point that we'll be walking on our first week of the Camino, passing famous historical locations like the Fountain of Roland, and coming back down into the beautiful Basque village of Roncesvalles. You can see there the ancient monastery of Roncesvalles, and quite a number of the ancient monasteries and pilgrim hostels have been turned into modern day paradors and hotels, and we will be staying in some of these. Our second day's walking will be from the village of Roncesvalles to Zubiri. It's going to be a lovely walk, 22 kilometres along tracks like the one you see in front of you here, through beautiful little villages. That lady is taking an opportunity to bathe her warm feet in the cool waters of the Arga River. And we will be heading on then on day 4 to the town of Pamplona. So Zubiri to Pamplona is about 21 kilometres. It's a very easy walk, very pleasant walk. We'll be passing little villages like Iruz, and you can see a couple of guys having a coffee here. Don't worry, we'll be taking the walk at a nice, gentle, steady pace. We can stop wherever we want to. In fact, our routine for the day will generally be that we all have breakfast together and start walking together. 2 of your guides will be walking with you at all times, and the 3rd will be driving our support vehicle. And you take the walk at your own pace each day. We all meet in our destination town in the evening. We have dinner together. Entering Pamplona, you can see the ancient walls of the beautiful city. We'll have an opportunity to look at the historic centre of Pamplona. You'll be glad to hear that the bull running isn't happening in September, that happens in July, but Pamplona itself has a wonderful ancient quarter with lovely tapas bars and restaurants, and we'll have plenty of time to enjoy all of those. Now day 5 takes us up our last incline. There's a fairly steep walk up to Alto de Pardon. You can see there the metal figures of the ancient pilgrims on Alto de Pardon, and then the modern windmills in the distance. It's another 24k walk. It will get us into the town of Puente de la Reina. Beautiful views all along the way. We'll be going through lovely little towns like Obanas, which you can see there, and it is possible, if some of you are interested, that we might take a detour to visit one of the spectacular little churches, Templar churches on the Camino in Eonate. So that day's walking will take us into Puente de la Reina. You can see the beautiful medieval bridge there. And our last day's walking from Puente de la Reina will be to Estella, another 22-kilometre walk, and another very easy, gentle walk along old Roman roads. And there you see one of the churches on the approach into Estella. And Estella is a really beautiful town. It's a lovely town to finish our Camino on because it has a host of beautiful squares, a particularly nice arcaded town square in the centre with some nice bars and restaurants, and some very, very interesting ancient churches on the way into the town. Just beyond the town, in fact, not on our walk, is the famous Bodegas Irache, where if you wish you can walk out to it and fill up your water bottle with wine, free wine provided by the Irache Bodega. So having finished our walking in Estella, we will move on then to our last day, which is a bus from Estella to Bilbao. One of the most extraordinary features of Bilbao, of course, is this beautiful Guggenheim Museum, which we will have time to visit. And on the way to Bilbao, we will be taking a trip, for those who are interested, to a bodega for some wine tasting. Now, with regard to the cost of each of the guided Caminos, you should visit our website. We will always be using good quality 3 or 4 star accommodation, or the best available at the location. For those who are, and that the prices will normally be based on per person sharing, but for anybody who's interested in single supplement where that's available, then that will be possible. Breakfast each day is included, and the Menu del Dia dinner is included on our particular guided Camino, the one I've been talking to you about from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. That will be included for 5 of those 7 nights. We will be transferring your additional bag every day. We're asking you to bring a bag that weighs around 10k or less than 10k, and we will be carrying that for you, but we are advising you to bring a small backpack into which you can put water and other necessities for your walking each day. And every day you will be supported by a support vehicle, which is there in order to give us options on the walk and also to transfer the bags. We have already quite a bit of information on equipment and clothing for a walk like this on the web. For anybody who signs on for any of our Camino walks, we will be sending you a document called guidance notes, and this will contain quite a lot of detailed guidance on the kind of gear that you should wear. But as you can see from the photograph in front of you, everything from a hat to protect you from the sun, down to walking poles which greatly assist your walking every day, and particularly your footwear. These should be chosen with great care, taking the advice that we are giving in our guidance notes, and that's available on the web, because certainly your gear will be having the right gear will be part of enjoying your Camino. Now, you probably will have a lot of questions. This is simply a very short summary of one of our Camino walks. And we suggest that first of all you search all of the information we have on the web, and then if you're really interested in this particular guided Camino, well, please email or contact our office and they will be more than willing to give you advice. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to sharing my love of the Camino with you.
Absolutely fantastic. You know, like, it is one of my favourite treks around the world, and everybody can do it. So thanks very much for such an informative.
You're very welcome, Pat.
What I'd like to do is just welcome in, you know, two of our other guys. Joe Leary, a very good friend of mine. Hi Joe, how are you?
Pat, how are you?
Yeah, like, you just tell them a little bit about the Camino yourself and your experience on it.
Okay. Well, my name is Joe Leary. I have been climbing and guiding with Pat for the last 25 years. We've had some great adventures together. Also, possibly one of the main coordinators on all of Pat's great trips to the Antarctic and to the Arctic and to Everest and North and South America, basically all over the world. And I've been very lucky to have been part of a lot of those trips. Some years ago, I was introduced to the Camino by Jim O'Leary and Eamon Cashel, and I was totally enthralled by it. Even though up to that I'd been climbing a lot of the higher mountains, and I said initially would the Camino be for me, but it was just such a magical experience, just the rich history of the Camino itself, and the people you'd meet. It's the meeting of the people actually that makes it so interesting, and I'm really so. As a result, I go back to the Camino every year with the lads. It's really a magnificent experience.
Well, thanks very much, Joe. Like, you know, and as you can see, I think the main thing here, it's a great one to get out and do. It's relatively easy, some great guides, and I think that's the most important thing, like when we're talking about going out on a trip. And these ones are the guided ones. You can also have the self-guided if it's a case you would.
Yeah.
So thanks for that,
Yeah.
Joe. And
It's great fun.
Yeah, it's great fun. Yeah, it is. I'd just like to introduce you to Eamon Cashel, another one of our guides on the Camino. And as you can see, you know, what do you think of the Camino?
I've been doing the Camino since 2006 and went into it the first time with great trepidation, although I was 10 years younger than I am now. I was really worried about could I manage it, 25 kilometers a day, going over at times difficult terrain, and I was really nervous about it. But in fact, I discovered one interesting thing about the Camino, which is that the more of it you do, kind of to an extent, the easier it becomes. So, and since 2006, I've done it with large groups, I've done it with small groups, very small groups. I have walked long distances per day and short distances per day, and I'm as enthusiastic as ever. In fact, I would say that it gives me particular pleasure to be in a position now to kind of act as an advocate for the Camino and to maybe help other people like yourselves to actually join us on one of the most fantastic stages, which is the first stage from Saint-Jean out through Pamplona to Estella. So looking forward to joining you, or you joining us, and taking us through that fantastic Camino stage. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Eamon. And as you see here, you know what I mean, we do, like in all our trips really, have some of the best guides in the world. They're social, they're knowledgeable, they have everything that it takes. So if it's a case you're coming with us, I just want to say, like, we really look forward to seeing you. And I know this, right, okay, when you're going on one of the guided ones, or indeed the unguided ones, but the guided ones, we have some of the best guides in the world, and you know what, you'll really enjoy it. So I look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.